property using the Markoski method. Join us. We're going live in our Facebook group, Positive Property Club. It's going to be an exciting session. Can't wait to see you there. Okay guys, we're starting in 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Positive Property Show with Christina and George Markoski, your hosts, coming to you live.
And hello and welcome. And look, if you can see us, please say hello because we've got an exciting thing today. We've just had some leaked documents from the RBA, and this is breaking news, leaked documents, and we're going to be talking about what the RBA have been saying, hidden away, but through freedom of information, we've got access to this.
For those of you who don't know, RBA is Royal Bank of Australia.
That's right. So this is very interesting because this is quite big news.
This is breaking news, really.
This is breaking news, but you know, I feel like the Joe Snowden of Australia, but without having to do anything illegal or anything. I'm not saying
getting the leaked documents. That's what I thought you were going.
Yes, no. I didn't get the leaked documents myself, but I found them on the internet. And you know me, I research property all the time. I'm a bit of a nerd.
Yes.
And the reason I do it, so you don't have
property.
to. So you don't have to do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. This is your who, not
Hello
how.
from Brisbane. Hello from Brisbane.
Hello from Brisbane.
Great to hear from you. So
hello
guys,
from Adelaide.
Exactly. And look, guys, I've got a special announcement to make at the end of this too.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm going to tell them something about us.
Oh, okay.
Something personal and private.
I'm like, do I even know what this is? This big announcement?
Well, yes, because I told you, and I told you what I was going to tell you, and you're like, what? Really? When I dropped that bomb, the truth bomb. When you
George, you're always shocking me. So I don't know.
So guys, I'm going to. Hello from Sydney. Okay, we got all of Australia coming.
Hello, our Sydney siders.
So I'm going to talk about money in the bank. So look, if anyone's got money in the bank, please just type in, say, hey, I've got money in the bank, because I'm talking to you especially, because this is important, because this is going to be a game changer. Because I'm going to go through some numbers and show you what's been going on.
Absolutely.
Right? And I'm going to show some real numbers, and because the problem is a lot of people have got their head in the sand and they don't realize what's happening. And I've called it before, I'm going to call it again. So this is what I'm telling you now. The property clock, right? You know, you got 12 o'clock's the peak, 6 o'clock's the bottom.
Picture the face of the clock.
Yep, picture the face of the clock, 12's the peak, 6 is the bottom. Well, guess what? We're at 7 o'clock. We're about to hit the biggest boom in 50 years. However, there's certain parts of the economy that are screwed. And I've been talking about this for years. We're banging on my drum for this for years. And I'm going to explain it again, explain to you what's been happening. But the funny thing is, time after time, my predictions come true. And look, they're not my predictions. They're what I learn and how to interpret the data. But I could do that.
Yeah.
You got money in the bank?
History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes.
There you go. Someone's got money in the bank. Great. I've got money in the bank. And you know what? I'm desperate to get it out. Seriously. In the dictionary, I'm desperate to get money out. I'm desperate. I really want to get my money out of the bank. And I'll tell you why. Now, we are live in Positive Property Club. Christina keeps moving me around. What a bossy wife I've got. Seriously.
I had a big workout yesterday, so my muscles are really sore. So I'm not quite strong enough, even though you're on a wheelie chair.
Yeah, but I had a big workout, but especially my drinking, I worked that out quite a bit yesterday as well. So look, this
RBA, how exciting!
So this is what they announced. The RBA papers point to 30% house price rise. Let that sink in. Let me type this in.
30%. That is massive.
Right? This is what the RBA have said. Right? So documents released from the Reserve Bank of Australia reveals that house prices could be pushed up by 30% if interest rates remain low for years, right? And what happened is an internal RBA document was released through Freedom of Information request on Friday, right? Because here in Australia, we've got freedom of the press. We're not communists, which is great. And we can actually find things out and ask. So someone accessed it through the Freedom of Information request. And this has just happened on Friday, so it's recent, right?
Nice.
And they wanted to know what's the impact of low interest rate on asset prices, right? And low interest rates will lift asset prices, which will increase wealth and household spending, the document outlines, right? So assets in general are rising, and the reason they're rising is because of inflation, right? Now, inflation's great if you've got an asset.
Yes.
It's really bad if you've got money in the bank. And I'm going to go through the numbers today, and this will shock you. Seriously, you're going to be going, oh my God, I'm shocked. That's how shocking it is, right? So this is it, right? So basically, that's what they're saying, right? And the RBA, they're pretty good at predicting stuff. And that's what they're saying, it's going to go 30%. So what does that mean for you? Well, let me give you the lowdown. Let me go through some of the numbers. And this is important because these numbers are important. Okay, have you heard of the rule of 7?
No.
Okay,
I haven't heard of the rule of 7.
Let me talk to you about the rule of 7. The rule of 7 says that if your asset goes up on average 10% a year, that every 7 years your asset will double.
Okay.
So properties, they generally double 7, 10, 12 years, right? That's what happens with assets like that.
Nice.
Right? And this is the deal, right? Let's say you buy a property today. It may double in 7 years, may double in 10, 12.
It might happen sooner.
Let's say it does it in 15, right?
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, George, my asset doubled in 15. I'm so upset with you, right? Seriously, that can happen, right? And I've had people that have, been part of our program and the property didn't do anything for a year and they're like, oh my God, but then it went up and they're like, okay, right? So let me explain the difference between the performance, right? Because we're talking Ferrari compared to a go-kart, right? Seriously. Okay. So if you put your money in the bank today, guess how long it's going to take to double? Not 7 years.
70 years?
80 years.
Oh, it was close.
Okay. So it's going to take you. So if you got money in the bank and someone said they got money in the bank, if you got money in the bank, it's going to take you around 80 years. Only at the current interest rate.
Oh my
now,
God.
I don't know about you,
That's shocking.
But in 80 years' time, my hip will probably be a bit caught up. I'll have a lot more grays in my beard, right? I'm going to be a lot older. I'm not even be around. Hopefully I will. Hopefully I'll be living long enough. But it's going to take you 80 years at current interest rates. Now, if that doesn't shock you, if that doesn't impress upon you that you need a different asset class, then you need to start thinking about this because it's very important. And what's happening in Northern Europe, they've got negative interest rates. So they actually charge you to have money in the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So money's so cheap now, you get charged to have it in the bank. And actually, we know one of our high-end clients, I can't mention his name, he's in Melbourne, and he's got, $700 million in the bank. They charge him for that money every month to keep it there.
What do you mean they charge him?
He has to pay a fee.
They don't pay him interest?
No, he pays them.
Why? Why?
That's with large amounts of money. That's the way it is at the moment.
Okay.
I know, crazy. So listen. So having money in the bank is not the answer, unless you're going to have some life extension. Because most people talk to us now on this podcast. If you're in the Positive Property Club podcast, what's that podcast called? Positive Property Show.
Positive Property Show.
And if you're in that Positive Property Club in the group, most people that are watching this are probably over 18. And in 80 years' time, you're going to be around about 100 plus.
Yeah.
So if you want to wait till you're 100 plus to double your money, go ahead, make my day, go and put it in the bank. All right?
That's shocking.
Yes. So how do we do it differently?
How do you work smarter, not harder?
Yes, exactly. And
how do you get ahead?
Well, the way you get ahead is get an asset that's going up in value, right? And what you need to do is you need to take advantage of this massive wave. So this wave of property, the biggest wave in 50 years, 30% rise in the next couple of years, next 2 to 3 years, the RBA says. That's huge.
Get on your surfboard and ride that
wave. So if property's gone up 30% next 3 years, that means they're probably going to double in 7, right? But I'm conservative, and my system works even if they double in 12. And that's a beautiful thing, because if you do double in 7, I'll just say high five, well done. And if it doesn't,
That's better, yeah.
because I would rather under-promise.
That's just a bonus if it happens sooner.
Should we all be pulling our money out of super to invest? Good question. Look, with super, don't have it in cash. And the stock market at the moment looks precariously high to me. And I'm not an expert with stocks, I don't know. And I've got money in stocks and I'm going to try to diversify a little bit. What I've done is I put some money in Bitcoin a while ago, and I was explaining to people, because a lot of people saying, George, should I put money in Bitcoin? And this is what I said. I said, truth is, I don't know. It's speculative. And I said, put 0.5% or 1% of your money in Bitcoin. And if you make a fortune, you can thank me. And if you lose it, you're not going to be angry with me. Now, some people listened to me and put their money in and didn't go up and they got upset with me. And other people went up and they were happy with me. But really, at the end of the day, what I've done is I put a 1% in. And recently, because the price went up, I sold 50%, took all my profit out, all the money I've put in. So now everything I've got in Bitcoin has cost me zero.
Awesome. So
you got zero loss. And to me, that's the good way of having Bitcoin, because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So if Bitcoin goes to zero, I'm going to lose zero. If it goes up to 100,000, I'll make 100,000, which is not bad. That's the way to do it.
You have your cake and eat it too, basically.
Exactly, which is pretty cool. So you got to mitigate risk, right? And mitigating risk is one of the most important things. So I'm going to talk about the state of the nation, what's happening in property at the moment.
Well, it's pretty exciting. The RBA is saying that it's property prices are going to be pushed up by 30%, and they're predicting that over the next few years, are they?
Next 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got more news. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
Okay.
Heaps. Where did I pack this? So the next thing I want to unpack and talk about, and I was talking, everyone who's known me knows that I'm not a fan of commercial property.
Yeah.
Because to be invested in commercial property, you really need a big tenant. You need a lot of money. Like if you get a Bunnings, you know what I mean? But the thing is, Bunnings, they're so big, they can afford to negotiate, and you're not going to get a good price anyway.
Yeah.
So most people that make money out of commercial property, they find the tenant first. It's going to go there for 20 years, get the lease, then get the property. A lot of people don't get that. There's a lot of mums and dads out there going, oh, I want to invest in commercial. Look, if you're not an expert, if you haven't got 10,000 hours experience at what you do, don't do it. So you shouldn't be investing in commercial unless you've got 10,000 hours experience. I don't have that. I've got 20,000 in property. So if you haven't got 20,000 hours in property, listen to me and do what I tell you to do. And seriously, the rules of real estate have changed. So if you don't learn the new rules, you're going to miss out, and other people are going to make money. That's why you've got to pay attention, and you're going to join us every Wednesday at 6:35 Australian Eastern Standard Time and talk to us.
Get educated, guys. It's the best gift you can give yourself.
And the thing is, should we be pulling our money in super to invest? I'm not a financial planner, so if I was to answer that question, that would be illegal. But what would I do? If I had enough money in super, I would probably talk to a specialist and get a financial planner who's qualified to help me plan doing it. And then I'd talk to a property expert. I don't know, someone like George Markoski or Christina, and then get them to help me invest in property, because at least I know it's going to go up.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if you remember back in 2008, what happened to the stock market? It dived, and people lost 30 to 50% of their savings, which is very sad. Guess what happened to property? In some areas it died, but the properties that I had, top 100, they went up in value. So I ended up making more money. Doesn't matter.
Awesome.
And, all these doom and gloom people are saying, oh no, COVID's going to kill property and blah, blah. Didn't happen at all. We've had no migration at all in Australia. And it hasn't affected most properties, but it has affected some. And I'm going to go through what...
We've had a lot of interstate migration, though.
Well, most of the migration is actually people leaving South Australia.
And going to Queensland.
Leaving New South Wales. So most interstate migration is actually... This is the interesting thing. The biggest interstate positive is Queensland. Surprise. Yeah. Guess where the second biggest interstate positive is?
Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Who would want to go to Melbourne after all that COVID and everything else?
And all that lockdown.
Yeah, but that's it.
People who enjoy solitary confinement, maybe?
Yeah. So look, this is what happened to commercial property. COVID-19 has been the death blow of the office. Right?
Yeah, I think everything was heading that way, but COVID just sped it up. Like everyone
all COVID did is accelerate everything.
More. Yeah,
because our business was going more online and more international. We've been doing that, and we've got a lot of the international people now, and we're more worldwide.
Yeah, I just had a meeting with someone from Dubai today, actually.
How exciting! So, and the one thing about COVID's helped us is move international, and I found it's really balanced things out because you want to spread your risk.
Yes.
And I'm going to talk about international in a minute down the track. Remind me.
Okay, if I remember.
Okay, so according to what's happened in CBD, that most office space have dropped 8.6% over the last 6 months in CBD.
I thought they would have dropped more.
That's a massive 6 months. That's a massive drop, right?
Yeah.
Right. And guess what else happened? Shopping malls have shrunk as well, right?
They're shrinking before our very eyes.
No, seriously, it's gone down big time, right? So what's happened is shopping centers, retail, office space has all gone down. And I don't think we're ever going to be the same again.
Well, no, I would prefer to shop online. I don't like shopping, I don't like going to a shopping center because it's hectic, you've got to drive there, then you've got to find a park, then you've got to deal with all the people and the hustle and bustle. Like, I hate it.
And usually you don't find what you want.
And then I come back home and buy it online anyway. So
Yes.
I'd rather just cut out all that, effort and just go straight to online where I know exactly what I can get and what I want.
Someone said, brilliant. Thank you. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. And look, so commercial property is dropping. And I'm telling you one thing, it's going to accelerate. And the future of commercial is very scarce.
So don't put any of your money in commercial.
There's some very specific stuff you can do, but make sure you talk to an expert. But really, we're about residential. Let's face it. If you're into residential property, you're probably listening to our podcast or in our group, because that's where we're at.
And
that's
if you're listening to us, you probably love property too. So.
Yeah. And if you don't love property, after hanging out with me long enough, you're going to love property anyway.
You'll be a believer.
Exactly. So look, even if you don't love property, hang out with me long enough and you are going to love it.
Yes. Well, it's not necessarily, I love property, but I love what it can give me, which is the freedom. It gives me money, which gives me freedom to have more time and a better lifestyle.
Let me go through a few numbers and compare the bank and property.
Okay.
So this is the deal. Let me go through numbers. Let's say we're buying a $500,000 property, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in $100,000, which is 20% deposit. And what I'm going to do is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about the numbers and how they work. And I'm going to compare that 100,000 in the bank. Yeah. I'm going to compare that 100,000 in property, and you tell me what's going to work better. So at the moment, if you put $100,000 in the bank, it's going to be 80 years to double. Okay. So we've got that thing there.
So you might want to cryogenically freeze yourself and wake up in 80 years.
See, I really think if you're going to put your money in the bank, you go to Alcor, get yourself frozen, come back, and you're laughing,
and you
right?
wake up and you've doubled your money, and you're like, woohoo, and I haven't aged a bit. But that's not really a possibility at the moment with technology.
Yeah. So then now let's see if I put $100,000 in buy property, and I'm going to buy the top 100. Okay. Now, if you're not familiar with this stuff, I'm going to put some training in our group, because you need to get familiar with the top 100. But buying the top 100 is going to give you the best chance of succeeding, making the biggest growth. Awesome. And seriously, we're the only ones that do this. No one else does this. And that's our what's a USP, unique selling proposition. Is what we do, right? And that's because I'm a nerd and I love property and I've had a lot of experience.
That's because you're a nerd.
Christina, you married a nerd.
Nerd.
Did you realize you're going to marry a nerd one day?
Hey, I'm a nerd too, so.
Yeah. So yes, property. Yes. Okay. And everyone loves property. I love that. I love you guys. I love property and I love you guys that love property. It's fantastic. So I'm going to put $100,000 in a $500,000 house. And now the RBA is telling me it's going to grow 30%. Mm-hmm. And let's say over the next 3 years, that's 10%. I'm just going to work on these numbers so get a bit of a feel for it. Okay. So a $500,000 property, if that went up 10%, that means you've made how much? $50,000.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So in 1 year.
Yeah.
In 2 years, you've made how much?
100,000. Actually
more, because it's compounding. Mm-hmm. You've made 125,000. But I'm going to simplify and say 100.
Yeah.
So
conservative.
So look at this. Property, how long is it going to take to double your 100,000? 2 years.
Woohoo!
Bank, 80 years.
80 years.
Now, I don't know who won out of that, but...
What would you prefer?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, wow.
Yes, exactly.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And look, let's say that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right? And let's say that 100,000, because normally properties do 5 to 7%, right? But even at 5%, right, you're still going to get that 100, because that 100,000 at 7% is going to double in 10 years, which means you've made 500,000, right? So then what you've done, you've made 5 times, not just one time. So in 5 years, even at 7%, you would have doubled your money. That's the power of compounding interest. See, that's why our members are they're not doing 1% or 2% like they do in the bank. Members on our program, they're making 20, 30, 50% return per year. And that's because they're doing the 5 times or the 8 times or the 10 times principal.
Yeah.
Because we're making 10 times. Because if I invest 20% and I'm making 5%, I'm really making 5 times 5, which is 25%.
Awesome.
If I invest 10%, I'm making 10 times, I'm making 50%. But if that goes up 10% and I've invested only 10%, right? 10% deposit, I'm getting a 10% return, right? That means I'm going to get 100% return per year.
Nice.
So that means I'll be doubling every year instead of every 80 years.
It's just a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, so look, guys, at the end of the day, cryogenic freezing could be handy for some things, especially for this long wait. I love that. That's good, because then you're hilarious. But that's the fact of it. And that's why I love property, and that's why you can't beat property. And that's why it's so amazing, right? Yes. So there's a few other things that I want to talk about that are pointed. I recently printed the no-go zone list.
Yes.
Right? And now a report's come out to vindicate what I've written.
Really?
Yes. So a report's come out, and guess what's happened? Because 2 of the no-go zones, Melbourne CBD, Sydney CBD, there's 2 of my no-go zones.
Yeah.
And basically, all CBDs with units are a no-go zone for me at the moment. And the reason being is because they're SHIT. They're just no good. Well, guess what's happened, right? Sydney's rents have dropped so badly. They're the same as what they were in 2013.
You're kidding.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's crazy.
So they've just been dropping like a lead balloon. Right? This is the biggest fall they've ever had, right? Melbourne, they've recorded again, they've fallen, right? They've gone down 10% nearly. So what's happening? This is the interesting thing, right? For the first time in 5 years, Melbourne is the 3rd most affordable capital city to rent after Adelaide and Perth. Can you believe that?
Wow.
I know, where it was so much more expensive before, now it's cheap. Okay, I need a hi, Ricey, Amy in Sydney. Hi, Ricey and Amy in Sydney. Shout out to you guys. Cheers. Nice
Thanks
to see you.
for joining us tonight, guys.
Thank you. I didn't understand what it meant. I'd need a hi, but now I get it. So I've said a hi. How are you? And welcome. So basically, apartment rents have just tumbled off a cliff. And what happens when rents go down? Tell me. What do you think happens to property prices?
Are they going to go down too?
They're going to go down too. And that's the problem.
They've got to match.
Yeah. And you know why they've collapsed so badly? I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because of COVID and because...
I was going to guess COVID,
Yeah.
but I thought maybe you've got some intel that I don't have.
Yeah. Because you know what's happened? We're not getting all the international students. So they don't need to rent anywhere.
Yeah.
And
because Aussies don't want to live in apartments generally.
well, no, usually it's, and guess what? We've got no migration. So are they going to bounce back?
Is that a cricket?
No, it's a piece
I
of...
thought a cricket just jumped
No,
on
they
George's
look like a
keyboard.
cricket. Yeah. So what's happened is the international migration, international students aren't there anymore. And that demand has just slowed that down, right down. So is it going to come back? Yes, it will come back. They'll bounce back.
Right.
But, you know, as you probably know, I'm not a big fan of units anyway. You know, every now and again, a unique situation, they're okay. But usually, I'm just not a fan of them. Yep. So that's what's been happening with the rentals. Yeah. So once the migration comes in and happens, that's what's going to happen. 0.230. Don't know what that means, but there you go. So guys, that's what's been happening. That's the state of the market at the moment. So, if this doesn't give a rocket up you to really go, oh my God, I need to do something. As soon as COVID's open, yes, absolutely. When COVID finishes, migration is going to be big and we're going to have a massive rebound. And what's going to happen? And this is the deal. RBA have predicted 30% without the migration.
Wow.
So try to understand that because putting more fuel to the fire.
Just a baseline.
Yeah.
Really.
So what RBA is saying is just because the interest rates and just because of what's happening in the economy in Australia on its own closed off from the rest of the world, we're going to go up 30%. But what's going to happen is migration is going to be like getting fuel and pouring it on the fire, like jet fuel, and the fire's just going to go crazy. And that's why we've got the biggest boom in 50 years.
It's going to explode.
Yeah. And look, don't know about you guys watching, but Christina and I, we're like, oh my God, we need to buy more property.
I need to buy 5 properties this year.
Like I'm on a mission to buy as much property as I can.
Absolutely.
I'm actually talked to my finance guy. I'm going to take out all my equity and I'm throwing it in because I've got money in the bank too. And my money's shrinking. It is shrinking and I don't want it shrinking. Now, you don't want any shrinkage in the bank.
No, you don't want shrinkage.
Get it out of the bank.
In the bank or out of the bank? Both
Exactly.
are bad.
No shrinkage. Shrinkage is bad. So that's what we're going to do. So really, guys, we're going to think about that. So if you've got money in the bank and you're not sure what to do, I really suggest you invest in yourself. Right? Yep. And I really think what you need to do is either do our 14-day challenge or book in with one of our top strategists, Charmaine. So if you want to do the 14-day challenge, type in 14-day challenge. Someone will send you a DM. If you want to book in with Charmaine and find out your options, type in booking Charmaine or something like that.
Yeah.
Because
have a chat.
Because I really think have a chat. And if you guys are listening to the podcast, come over and join us in Positive Property Club live so we can really get to know each other and you can see me instead of just listening to me.
And what talking to Charmaine is going to do is give you a strategy. So if you'd like to take us up on that opportunity, just type strategy.
There you go. Thank you. You're good at this stuff. High five. Excellent. And I'm about to do the special announcement, which I announced the other day. And I want to talk about you, Christina, because you just got out of surgery recently. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if you've noticed, Christina's not wearing any glasses today.
No glasses. I got new eyes.
Yeah, so Christina...
I had eye surgery.
So Christina's had a new technology called Smile, and it's amazing. I'm wrapped, and I'm a bit jelly because when I had mine, I couldn't see. I put eye drops in my eyes for a year straight.
Wow.
And I woke up in the morning and my eyes were like glued together for a year.
Wow.
And look at you. You're like driving around.
I drove to my appointment the next day. That's how good this surgery is.
I needed the white cane after I got mine. Literally almost. And look, the funny thing is, I'm the president of the Blind Sporting Council, which helps visually impaired people. So
and you experienced it yourself at one point after your LASIK eye surgery.
Strategy, excellent, yes.
Fantastic.
And look, if you've got money in super, you should get a strategy as well. You should all check it out because I think it's important.
Definitely.
So what I was going to do is I'm going to tell you about announcements. What happens is Christina went and did the eye surgery. Mm-hmm. And I don't drive at the moment because I've been speeding a bit and stuff like that. Everyone knows I don't have my license at the moment. Coming back very soon. At one point, I lost it, and now I'm going to...
Georgian licenses don't mix, so let's see how long you
I should keep it for about 5 years at least. Anyway, so then what happens is after your eye surgery, they give you all this stuff to put you to sleep. So when you get home, you don't open your eyes and it doesn't damage you. You've got 4 hours of sleeping solid, right? But what happened was while Christina was doing eye surgery, I'd been talking to a friend of mine, Barry, who lives in Bali, and been having a chat on WhatsApp, and I've been, how's it going, all that. And he's been surfing, having a great time, right? Someone else wants strategy as well. Excellent. So I've been talking to my friend Barry, and Barry is an international businessman, lives in Bali, does very well, lives an amazing lifestyle, very, very smart guy, right? And basically, very smart guy, and he's my coach when it comes to business, and I'm Barry's coach when it comes to property. And Barry's done very well. I think he's got 4 or 5 properties in the last year on our program alone. He kicks ass. The guy's really sharp. Anyway, so he's talking to me, and I'm like, wow, Bali sounds awesome. He's like, it's amazing. So I'm thinking, what the hell? I go, Barry, guess what? I'm moving there with you. Right? So Christina comes home, and And I go, Christina, guess what? We're leaving Australia permanently and we're moving to Bali. I'm selling my car. We're getting rid of our cars. We're closing down the house. We're out.
Mm-hmm.
And Christina is like, George, I'm not supposed to get excited for 4 hours. Now
I'm supposed to be sleeping for 4 hours and closing my eyes and just relaxing. But now I'm buzzing. I'm going, what? Why are we moving to Bali? What? When did this happen? Like, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. So look, I'm sorry about that. But I mean, how often does your husband tell you, hi, guess what? We're leaving the country for good. And the funny thing is...
Not every day, put it that way.
Yeah, but I'm really good that we're on the same page because we know each other so well,
Yeah.
and I knew you'd want to come anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to stay here while I'm in Bali. And the thing is...
we'll just live in separate houses.
Yes, so what happened was, when I first met Christina, and we were going through that courtship period, we just started dating.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's it. I took Christina to Bali for a holiday because... You know, when you're fresh and you first start dating someone, holidays are so exciting. And especially, it's a great way to get to know each other because you don't have your family and friends around you and it's just you two and you're in each other's world.
It's just like a fun adventure.
Yeah. And how amazing was that?
It was awesome.
And because Bali, thank you. Someone says, congratulations. Thank you so much. And because Bali was when our love first blossomed with each other, and it's a very special place for both of us in our heart. One, because the Balinese are beautiful people. I love them. They're beautiful people.
Absolutely.
I love the culture. It's just a beautiful place and I love it. And I like the attitude there and it's a very cool, laid back place. And I want to learn how to surf. And, you know, I sort of go through semi-retirements every now and again and I'm hiring someone to take over the business and run it. And I'm going to still do the coaching, you know, a bit of stuff, but I'm going to move out of the business for a little bit, do a bit of surfing and work on my tan. And then go back into it because I do that from time to time. Yeah, and it's pretty exciting. So we're going to move to Bali permanently and say goodbye to everyone. And it's pretty exciting. And I thought to myself, if I don't do it, I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about getting out of your comfort zone and doing something different.
Absolutely.
You know? So guys, you're the first to hear around the world about us leaving Australia permanently and moving to Bali. You know,
and I'll still be doing property coaching. I'll be doing it from Bali. I'll just be doing it over Zoom. I've been doing it over Zoom for the past few years now anyway. So it doesn't matter where you are. I'll be able to connect.
Oh, look, we've grown so much and that's what's going to happen. Now, if someone's saying, what's your strategy? The strategy would use for avoiding land tax in New South Wales and Queensland. Okay, good question. Look, I don't like using the word avoid. Right. So when I talk about tax or land tax, I talk about legally minimizing it. Just better wording.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're really doing. Because we don't want to avoid anything. We don't want to avoid anything. What we want to do is really legally minimize our tax, legally minimize our land tax to as much possible as we legally can, but still keep it all above board and being ethical. That's the most important thing. Now, New South Wales and Queensland have got different thresholds when it comes to land tax. And what needs to happen, which is an interesting thing, and this is part of the service we provide for people anyway. So what happens is, I've got a table and each state has got a different land tax threshold, right? And anyone heard of this thing, don't put your eggs in one basket? Mm-hmm. Well, there's another reason we don't put eggs in one basket, because we don't want to get land tax up the rear end, especially because New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia now are terrible for land tax. Yeah. They're really horrible places. And if you've got too much property, they're going to sting you. So what I do is you get a mixture of buying in different locations and buying in different entities to reduce your tax. It's quite complicated. And everyone's situation is very different. Yeah. But the person who asked that question, type in the word strategy, book in with Charmaine, let's know your details. We might be able to help you out. But what I do is, I know in Queensland, you can own $700,000 worth of land without paying any land tax at all. New South Wales is different. And each state is different. And what I like to do is I like to move my house, buy houses in different areas, and keep accumulating. For one thing, what I like about buying in different states is it keeps you safe, because if one's going up, the other's going down. So at the moment, my Perth property is going down, my Queensland property is going up, Adelaide properties are sort of sitting there. One of them went up, one of them went sideways, the other one went up. You know what I mean? And the way I see it is properties like fruit trees. And properties like fruit trees, and really at the end of the day, what I want to do is have an assortment of them and different ones to grow differently. because we planted an olive tree and a
Fig tree.
fig tree, right? And what I love about olive tree and fig tree is the Mediterranean. I love the Mediterranean. I love Italy, Greece, Greek islands, Macedonia, Ohrid, and you got fig trees and olive trees there everywhere in these old ancient places. And I wanted to get that feel in our backyard. And what happened was the fig tree really kicked ass. We had figs the first day, first month we had the fig tree. Olive tree, no olives for 2 years. And now suddenly the olive tree's double the size of the fig tree. And now the fig tree's catching up again. And what happens is properties like that, because that's why I want to get lots of properties, because some outperform others. And what I want to do is have as many as I can exposed to this market. And usually about 20% equity. So therefore I'm getting 5 times the growth. It's very important. And now's the time to really get your house in order. You know, because what they say is, you've probably heard fortune favors the bold. You've probably heard that. And that's part of us going overseas. It's getting out of our comfort zone. I think getting uncomfortable is important. But you know what? Fortune favors the prepared. Really, if you're prepared, it's going to be like a surfing. If you're prepared, right, you're going to catch this wave, this 30% wave, and do very well.
Absolutely.
Well done to you both. Well done to you both. You're an amazing team and earned Bali. Congratulations, George. You really are a brilliant, knowledgeable, and genuine speaker.
Oh,
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
That's a lovely comment. I really appreciate it.
That's
Look,
awesome.
As you know, our values, one of our values is authentic. And I'm really, want to be authentic and real. And I was supposed to go to the dentist today. And I rang up and said, hey, I'm hungover. I can't come because if you put anything in my mouth, I'll probably throw up. And Christina was like, why'd you tell him that? And I said, Christina, because...
Like, isn't that too much information?
And I said, no, because I just want to be really authentic.
There is such thing as oversharing, though.
I overshare. I do. And I like to share everything. Because really, at the end of the day, I think I have to move. I really think by being as authentic as I can and sharing my journey with you, that's the best way for you to learn. I don't want to make things look good for you. And when I stuff up and I tell you, I mean, I don't know if people saw the video when that phone call that cost me $5,000, right? I got a phone call. We were in Singapore and what we did is Airbnb our house. And then I get a call from the people from the Airbnb it. My water thing blew up and had water everywhere. Yeah. And then they called someone because I didn't have a manager, which was silly thing to do because we're managing it from overseas. Not doing that again.
Not possible.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm managing it from there. So they had to call anyone who charges $5,000 to replace it, which should have cost $2,000, right? But that phone call cost me $5,000. Expensive phone call. But you know what?
Yeah.
I learned from it and I wanted to share with you guys what happened. So when I stuff up, when I get something wrong, you guys are going to be the first to know about it. And the reason I want to tell you when I stuff up is because I learned from my mistakes. I want you to learn from my mistakes.
So you don't have to.
Exactly. But what you got to understand is I've made more mistakes than anyone because I've had 20,000 hours.
It's like that saying, it's a wise man learns from his mistakes. A wiser man learns from another man's mistakes.
Exactly. And look, I've learned most of my mistakes from other people, luckily.
You get the shortcut.
And you get the shortcut with me, but I still make mistakes every now and again. So what I've done now is I've gone out and I'm going to get a professional Airbnb manager.
Yes.
They're going to manage our house. And then we're going to be able to book in when we want to come back for a holiday and visit the family. Because we're coming back in July for Christina's brother's wedding. So that's our first trip back to Australia.
Rose getting married.
I know, how exciting. It's going to be great. So that's what's happening. And, part of what I love doing is being authentic because, one, it's easier. Two, I don't want to polish things up. I want to give it to you raw, the way it is, because you're going to learn more if I give it to you the way it is instead of trying to make it look good. And I'm not here to look good. Christina's here to make me look good. I don't have to.
That's my job. I'll do the heavy lifting there.
You do the heavy lifting, right? Christina, you do.
I've still got my license, so yes.
Right, there you go. And you know what? I should have sold my car anyway because I haven't got a license. So I'm going to get rid of it. And I was going to do that anyway.
And it's too low to the ground. Like, I don't like driving the Porsche because It's just awkward, hard to get in and out of a sports car. I prefer being up high in my BMW and, you know, having the luxury.
Oh, Christina, I'm sorry, but you sound a little bit toffee-nosed there. Oh, the Porsche's too low. I just won't drive it.
It's way too low to the ground. Yeah, it's just not my style.
You're hilarious, Christina, because that does sound a bit toffee-nosed, but we're down to earth.
It's just a fact,
yeah,
you know.
But the fact
it doesn't matter what car it was. If it were low to the ground, I wouldn't like it.
Well, I'm going to sell the Porsche and buy a house.
I think that's a smart investment.
And I'm going to do the numbers and show you what you can do by selling your car. Because actually, I've had a few members that have joined our program that had no deposit. I got them to sell their cars and buy property.
Yeah.
And one guy now has got over $1 million worth of property after he sold his cars.
Awesome.
He's still got a car now too. So, which is pretty cool. So look, exciting stuff. So guys, we're moving to Bali. We're still going to keep the same bat time, same bat channel at 6:35 Australian Eastern Standard Time.
All our commitments are staying the same in positive property.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be committed to learning how to surf.
We're going to be here, rain, hail, shine, Bali, Australia.
So look, guys,
doesn't matter where we are.
That's right. So make sure you join us each Wednesday because I really enjoy interacting with you. And I'm hoping I can help you guys as much as I can and give you, get you to the next level investing.
Definitely. And really looking forward to having a chat with everyone who books in and have a strategy section.
Yeah, make sure you type in strategy, even if you hear this afterwards, because I have our team monitoring this. And look, if you're on the podcast and you're listening to me, what I want you to do is, when you stop, if you're driving your car, just go into Facebook, get into Positive Property Club, join us there so you can interact with us live, and that's going to be a lot more fun.
Yeah, awesome. So just to sum up what we had to chat about tonight.
In a second, I just want to see this. How do I use equity to get ahead without being restricted by serviceability, i.e. 7 times gross income? Yeah, look, good question. And what I've done is actually this morning I had a meeting and I did a training for our group with our mortgage manager, because what you need is a mortgage manager to help you. Yes. What I suggest you do, if you're not sure about that, is do our 14-day challenge, because that's going to go through the training and teach you that.
Or if you've already done your 14-day challenge, and if you're a member, book in for a review with your coach.
That's right. Now, we had a question from last week, and I'm going to see where it is to see if I can answer it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, but this is we're sort of coming to the end now anyway.
Yeah, I'll start doing a bit of a summary then. So
talked about the
RBA saying that property is going to be going up by 30%.
Yeah, but this is internal leaked documents from the Freedom of Information Request, right? 30%.
Nice.
Then we talked about how units in Melbourne and Sydney have dropped again.
Yeah, and then we talked about commercial property.
Commercial property, as normal, we think it's crap. It's gone down.
Changed.
It's gone down.
It's even worse than before.
We talked about, has COVID killed the office? Has COVID killed the shopping centre? It may have not killed it, but it certainly hurt it quite a bit.
It was dying anyway.
Yep.
But now it's on life support.
Exactly. And also, what we did is...
we just got to turn that switch off.
The other thing we spoke about, that if you put your money in the bank, it's going to take 80 years at this current rate. And it's not going to be the same for 80 years, so it might be a little bit shorter. But we thought the best strategy, if you want to do that and not do property, is to get cryogenically frozen with alcohol, because it's going to help you a lot. So we talked about that. And the other thing we talked about is us going back to where we had our first romantic holiday, back to Bali, moving to Bali.
Moving to Bali, yeah. So what was that question from last week, George?
What I'm going to do is, I can't find it. So we're going to have to answer it next week. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to be documenting our whole way of moving to Bali and show people how it's done.
Yeah.
And just show you what we're doing. Because, I want to show you guys behind the scenes what's really happening, when we do this sort of things. And what I want to do is I want to get you guys behind the scenes when I'm doing a few property deals.
Well, it's about that laptop lifestyle, Once you've got a property portfolio, it does give you the time and the money to have the flexibility to live where you want to live, to have the lifestyle you want to have. So it's going to be really great for you guys to see how we do it.
Exactly.
And then, we'll teach you how to do the same thing.
Yes, I want to teach everyone how to have this lifestyle and be able to do what we're doing, because it's really the property that's giving us this opportunity.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer, and you can do it too.
Absolutely.
And we're going to show you how to do it.
You're not special. You can do it too. It's not that hard.
Exactly. So we're going to go behind the scenes. We're going to show you how it's done. Christina and I are doing a property deal at the moment, which are more advanced thing that we're doing at the moment. We're going to make 100% in 12 months, right? Which is pretty exciting too. And we're going to document the whole thing. We're going to be teaching it to our students.
Absolutely.
Right. because once you tap out your tax, then you're going to really, because what we do normally with our program is first thing you do is tap out your tax and get all your tax dollars and start getting that to help you build property and build your wealth. And that works away in the background. Once you've made enough money out of that and you've got enough properties.
Yeah.
Yes, Christina peaked at her vision board with Bali Living. Oh, how cool is that? There you go. So who's that? Because I can't see it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that
Bali
Lisa?
has a special...
Is that Lisa?
I don't know, George.
It's one of your clients.
It's had a special place in my heart for a long time, which is great. So, yeah, I can't wait to...
So I
there.
love the vision board of Bali. And you know what? We're going to be doing it. It's going to be great. So I'm very excited about that. So I'm really excited to share our journey with you guys. And yep, Lisa. I thought it was Lisa. Yep, I know. Well, guess what, Lisa? Now we're definitely doing a conference in Bali.
Now, 100%.
Because Lisa's one of our members, and Lisa's awesome. She's really cool. So high five to Lisa. But not only that, Lisa actually, she convinced me to do a Bali retreat for everyone. And we're going to be doing one, especially now we're going to be living there. We're going to be doing a Bali retreat for all our clients and our members, which is going to be cool. And we may do one live one when we get back, once the borders all open, because I really want to get together all our members live. We want to do a bit of board breaking and get together, because really at the end of the day, yes, we're all freedom fighters, right? Because we're fighting for freedom for ourselves, our families, and our lifestyles. That's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And woohoo, you can get it all set up for us. Yes, I will. I'll actually help you with all of it, because I've already got all the contacts to do everything we need. I only decided 3 days ago, and we've got everything done.
That's right.
It's amazing. And the key is who, not how.
Exactly.
That's what I do really well.
It's a great book. I suggest you read it, check it out.
One of my coaches, Dan Sullivan, wrote it. And
It'll
the guy's
get
a genius.
your mindset right for thinking, who can help me with this, rather than how do I do this myself.
So the deal is never think how, but think who. And I made the mistake of thinking how with our house. So what happened was I Airbnb'd our house. And we actually went to South America and made $10,000 profit, $12,000 profit, while being on holiday, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
But if I had a manager, we would have made $20,000, right?
More.
So I really, by thinking how, not who,
you cost yourself money.
Cost myself 10 grand, right? Yeah. And then that 5,000 problem, that would have been a $1,000 problem if I had a manager.
Absolutely.
And now we're going overseas. I'm going to get a manager. I'm not going to have that problem again. And look, that's the deal. So from now on, every time I think of something, I don't think how, I think who.
Yeah, I love
and what I want you to think is, if you're going to invest in property, you need to think who, right?
Yeah.
And if it's not me, then think again. I'm joking.
Awesome, guys. Well,
so guys,
it was great to catch up tonight.
Excellent catching up, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone. Make sure you're here next week. We always got some good stuff for you every week.
We're going to have a just as exciting night next week.
I hope so. I don't know if we can beat tonight, but we'll give it a shot.
It's going to get more and more exciting each week.
Enjoy your Wednesday night, guys. Cheers.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.